What it do, golf fans? Welcome back to the Turn Dogs Golf Podcast. This is Liam. Alongside me is Jack. Jack, we had a great week in golf. The Travelers, who'd have thought? Well, actually, it was an elevated event. Let's not kid ourselves. What did you think of the week?
Scotty Scheffler, man. Guy's pretty good at golf.
Yeah.
He is spectacular. Shout out Meredith and the Scheffler family, because if you watch the embrace of Tom Kim on the 18th green after the playoff, that was beautiful, because Tom Kim's young. Everything is more emotional to him, but just the way they were accepted was just beautiful to watch. But I do have a gripe to pick with Scotty Scheffler, but it's not his fault.
Got it.
The way they're talking about Scotty Scheffler, him being like all the Tiger comparisons, which I get, I've made them. Imagine, just hear me out on this one, because I know this is left field and I'm obviously a Tiger bias, but half of the best players in the world are playing in a different league. Half of the field was gone in the elevated events that he's winning. Just give me imagine Tiger Woods taking top or 5 of the best 10 players in the world and 15 of the greatest 40 players in the world currently, throwing them in a different league, and then taking the PGA Tour field for a normal tournament, cutting it in half. That guy would have 135 wins. So
yeah. Okay.
I'm not trying to take anything away from Scotty, but just like they're talking about 6 wins in a season, best winning season. It's like, dude, imagine if Tiger only had to play 60 people, no cut, which is, are you kidding me? Dude, it's like, that's the one gripe I have. And it's not Scotty's fault. It's not Scotty's fault.
It's giving LeBron versus MJ kind of vibes in the same sense. I'm not saying it's the same comparison, but again, it's a different era, it's a different time. I think if you put Liv and everybody together all in the same field every time, he'll probably would have won like 5 of them so far. Still, I think he still wins
5 of 6.
5 of the 6 that he did win. I think he probably loses one of those. Because in theory, you have Rahm or Bryson or Rory. But, like, Rahm's been playing like ass anyways. And, like, I mean, Brooks, maybe. But, like, who else is competing against him outside of what? Rory, Brooks, and DeChambeau?
Well, it's not just that.
3 additional names.
You're taking away, let's call it a field of, what was it, 70?
Yeah, 71, but then Benyon withdrew. It was down to 70.
Yeah, so you're missing like 85 guys from a normal PGA tournament.
Yeah.
Of that 85, let's call it, you take that 85 of blank players, include the live guys that are missing. There's 5 guys in the OWGR top 10 that I would pull, maybe 7 of top 20 if you want to get, so 7 guys in the top 20, plus a handful of names, plus another 70 names from the PGA Tour that all of the capabilities. Now, I'm not saying Scotty can't win 5 out of 6. I don't know, because it takes 1 week. I would say 3 for sure, but it irks me, as I'm an old head and I know it. Everyone knows it. I've said it a million times, but like, does that? Am I the only person thinking that? Like, it's
a little bit. Again, I think he wins 4 at the minimum. I think he's still got 4 of them pretty solidly. Again, you could argue the one could have gone to Tom Kim here, cut that down to 5. Fine. You could argue that Rory or Bryson probably would have won one of the other 5. Take it to 4. But like, even then, he won 4. I don't think he didn't lose the Masters. He faced everyone there. He got arrested. I mean, he's had his own challenge of setbacks as far as like a yearly review. I don't think adding in like 2 to maybe 3 more golfers on a weekly basis that could actually challenge him would change his wins that much. I don't know.
Yeah, but it's not about even
are you saying the elevated
just
events, or are you saying the fact that we're missing out on a few of the top guys from Liv and like sometimes Rory?
I think it's just and I'm not, again, it's not Scotty's fault. It's not his fault.
Yeah.
It's not like he signed up, I want this, or blah blah blah. But again, let's just take Sergio Garcia, prime Sergio Garcia, and I want people to remember this, because if you're newer to golf, like COVID boom golf, Sergio Garcia was the next Tiger Woods. Like, I just want everybody to remember that. Like, or if you didn't know, Tiger Woods was asking Sergio Garcia for his autograph when he was coming onto the scene. Like, I think people are missing that. Sergio Garcia would have won 35 times if he was playing in 70-man field. Like, it goes for everybody. Scotty is what he's doing is incredible because he's still facing upper echelon of talent.
Yeah.
But at the same time, I mean, take a look at the leaderboard. Let's just say, Brian Harmon. Brian Harmon is not contended for an event in a long time, and all of a sudden he's contending. It just takes 1 week for these guys. I mean, Sepp Straka. Sepp Straka wins or is close in contention, then 122nd the next week. You're adding just 80 guys each week to these upper echelons of fields. It just takes 1 week, and it just adds more pressure and all this stuff. Like, you can't take away the Masters. That's the biggest field in the world. But
yeah.
That's my gripe. It's not Scotty, but it feels like we're missing. I don't know. I think I'm the only one thinking about it.
Yeah, I get it. Again, I still think Scotty wins probably four of the six, even if you put them all in full fields, everything else. He is on another level in terms of.
But imagine Sam Snead, 64-man field. Oh my God, that guy would have 312 wins.
Again, I do think the elevated events are going to change the way that they go about the wins, which could make it a challenge. So, I mean, you could say the same thing too about like the money at the end of the year. Like every year, the guy who wins the most tournaments, it feels like always becomes the new winner in terms of money rankings on tour for the year. Like it just keeps elevating, which I understand why they do it, but again, it does get repetitive. You kind of highlighted it. Let's loop back into the Travelers here. Scotty Scheffler did beat Tom Kim in a playoff. Again, there was some issues on the 72nd green. There was some protests going on. I think it was probably an interesting place to protest. I don't think a golf tournament on the 18th hole is the first spot I think of when I'm doing oil protest. But to each their own. I understand.
No, not to each their own. You knucklehead idiots. Oh my God, you losers have nothing better to do with your day. Go protest somewhere like the White House or your local government agency where you're looking at guys that have slammed 7 Miller Lights over the last 45 minutes on a golf course on a nice Sunday afternoon. You idiots. Oh my God, go. Okay, I love Taylor Swift. Taylor Swift is awesome. Go protest her because she takes her team on 4-minute private jet flights and uses I think they had a stat her emissions is 7,000 people for the entire year. No one's protesting the Eras Tour. Oh my God. But some golf, you idiots, you guys are dumb.
I want you to know, Jack, the exactly what you just said about how you're super annoyed is exactly what the protesters want. They want people to be angry and say something about it, and you just
good
did.
News. I hate them. I literally
they're okay with that. They don't want you to like them.
I will not do this. I'm prefacing this. I will not do this because it's a crime. I wish I could go visit them in jail and urinate in their jail cell, so they just have to sit with my pee. Preface, I will not do it because that's the league. That's what I wanted. I wanted to just sit there because it's so dumb. It's so dumb.
All right. Well, after there was the protest on the 72nd hole of the green, Tom Kim made a nice 10-ish footer for birdie. Scotty made a par. They went back. They did a playoff hole. Tom Kim decided he was going to try and big dick it and take a lob wedge from a $120. Turns out that Jack is the only one that can do that, not Tom Kim. That's
not a fake number, by the way. I just want to point that out there.
Yeah, Jack does actually hit his lob wedge just 63, 120 yards. But Tom Kim tried to hit it from I think 107 into the wind, ended up in the bunker. Scotty landed on the green, easy 2-putt for par, winner. Outside of Scotty and Tom Kim, some of the other big names. I mean, Sung J M was T3. Of course, the week after, I bet him to do well. Cantlay was T5. That was a surprise, but nice to see. Finau was T5. Justin Thomas, who literally couldn't do anything all year, found his putter, of course, finished T5. Don't worry, he's going to lose it again next week, guys. Don't rely on JT's putter. Akshay Bhatia was also T5. Wyndham Clark was T9. Cam Young shot 59 this week, and he barely cracked the top 10. So
shot 59, and then the next day started off with 4 birdies in a row. I'm like, you got to be kidding me. This guy.
Yeah, and he finished T9, barely cracked top 10. Really crazy. I mean, Xander T13, Morikawa T13. A lot of the big names hung out up top. It's all there really was to it. I mean, the bottom is pretty much chock full of the lower tier guys that got into the field. I mean, and then you got like the Spieth, Homa, Burns, setup. The Gala, I think, was like T50. But again, a lot of those guys down there in that T45 to T70 range were guys you kind of anticipated were going to be down there. I think Adam Schenk was down there, which was Jack's pick of guy to do poorly. So yeah,
two guys I said would do poorly. One, which we'll get into in about 3 minutes, which you're welcome. Sorry. But I was like, literally, if he's going to finish in like the bottom 10, I think he was like bottom 11. Like, I was like, come on.
Yeah. Yep. But with that, anything else stand out to you? Do you want to get into your DraftKings lineup for last week?
No, I just want to go tell those protesters that I hope they stub their toe on every single table they cross in the next. Listen, okay, this isn't some political thing. Like, go protest. Like, go do your thing. Go have your voice. Everybody should be able to do that. That's a right. But like, there's one. Okay, this isn't a political podcast, but like, now we're talking about like, go use your voice. You don't need to go be a spaz and go spray paint a PGA Tour green. Like, again, the guy in the freaking Tommy Bahama shirt that slammed and shotgunned 6 Coors Lights and then got here and was so sunburnt. Like, that guy could care less. Go to your local government agency, go arm in arm and speak your voice. Like that's it. That's my head. Like a normal person. You freaking donuts.
All right. With that,
Travelers Championship, DraftKings. Yep. Man, did I do good.
Thank you.
Xander, great. Aubert, you suck. Shane Lowry, fantastic. Siwoo Kim, great. Austin Eckrout, you're welcome. And Lee Hodges, you're freaking welcome. Did you guys want to win money? Because I did. And if you followed, so did you.
Let's not trash talk too much. Ludwig Aubert finished T27 shooting +2 on Sunday.
I said he played bad. He sucked. Yeah. I hate him for it.
Again, that's his worst finish, I think, in 7 or 8 weeks. We'll be
since like January, or I guess PGA.
Yeah, he did miss cut of PGA, but like since the PGA, he'd been playing good, and before the PGA, he'd been playing better than that too. So it's all right. You can sacrifice for 1 week. I'm sure the next time he plays, he'll finish top 5. So nice by Jack. He beat me by a little bit. I had Ludwig, who finished T27, Hideki, who finished T23, Henley, who finished T48. I am probably off of Russell Henley until he decides to pull his head out of his ass and start playing good golf again, because he looks like he's swinging lefty. And then, if you don't know any better, he's a righty. I did have Tom Kim, who finished second. I had Christian Bezuidenhout, who was T23, and then Michael Thorbjornsen was T39. So you're welcome if you took Thorbjornsen, because that was a pretty good play, all things considered.
Heck yeah. My FanDuel, pretty much the same, except I had Xander, Aubert, Brian Harman. Thank you. Goodness gracious, that was a risky play, and thank gosh that paid off. Bhatia, Thomas Dietrich. What happened to you? Did you hit the pub too much the night before? Like, what happened? Like, that was so disappointing. And then Austin Eckroat, 8,300. You guys are welcome again, because if you played that lineup, you won. Because it seems like a lot of people were high on one guy I'll mention in 30 seconds. Sam Burns, Sahith Theegala. Like, Sahith was owned at like 45%. I'm like, what the heck are we doing here?
Yeah, people were really high on him last week. My FanDuel, I think at one point on Saturday, I was in like the top 30 overall of all FanDuel lineups. Didn't end up that way. I had Ludwig Aubert, who fell off against shot +2 on Sunday, T27. Keegan Bradley, I think, shot even par on Sunday. He was T39. Did have Xander, who was T13. I had Tom Kim, again, second. Taylor Pendrith, who was T23. I think he shot -1 on Sunday. And then Thorbjornsen, who, again, was T39. So I had guys who were playing really well, and then a bunch of them who didn't really do all that much come Sunday. But we still cashed. So love that for us.
I love it. Next, jumping on to my favorite portion of the week, bets. I love bets. 4-2 on the week. How we didn't go 6-0 makes me want to punch a hole through a wall looking at the 2 bets I lost. Collin Morikawa top 20 at -163. Easiest win of my life. I didn't even have to break a sweat. Max Homa, 28th or worse. I'm sorry. I love Max Homa. I'm sorry. Easy money, free money. That was a win.
We told you that one. If you listen to our
did.
TikToks as well, I quite literally called him out as one of my 4 guys I disliked this week. So you're welcome. Him and Sam Burns both stunk.
Austin Eckroat, top 40 was minus 150. You're welcome. Corey Connors, top 30 at minus 165 was a winner. Ludwig Aubert, top 20 was minus 150. That freaking idiot. And lost because he sucks. And then Aubert beating Hovland, which coming into Sunday looked like a minus 12,000. Lost. So up 0.72 units. Can't win them all. Up a grim 48.17 units on the 2024 season. Should have been more, but you take what you can get here.
Yeah, solid week again. Any money's good money, and Jack, even when he loses, he still gains 0.71 units, which is generally a good sign. If your worst weeks are, darn, I only gained a little over half a unit, it's a good problem to have. For my bets, I had a pretty good week. I went 5 for 7. I had Patrick Cantlay top 20 at minus 120. That was a win. I had Ludwig Aubert over Victor Hovland. That was a loss. We did squad ride that, by the way, looking in retrospect. So I probably should have known to.
But different odds, though. We were hoping it was going to work.
Yeah, different odds. We thought it'd be different. The comeback of the century: Adam Scott over Jason Day and Cam Davis was plus 125. I need everybody to know, after Thursday, Adam Scott was in second to last. He was plus 4. Cam Davis was minus 3. I was 7 shots back of that bet on Thursday at the end of the day. I won that bet by 2 shots over both Jason Day and Cam Davis. No business doing so, but we'll take it.
And Saturday, they showed every single Jason Day and Cam. Oh, my gosh. That was ridiculous.
Yeah, I had no business winning that bet, but we will take the win. I had Keegan Bradley over Corey Connors. Again, I think Keegan Bradley shot even par on Sunday. If he even just shot like 3 under, that would have won. He lost him, I think, by a shot. I had Ludwig Aubert top 20 in round 1. That was a win. He was top 20 in round 1 at plus 100. I also had Xander Schauffele top 20 round 1 at minus 130. That was a win. And then I had Tom Kim as the top Korean over Benny An, Sungjae Im, and Siwoo Kim. I didn't anticipate having to worry about the fact that Sungjae was going to finish top 5 in the field. But the fact that Tom Kim almost won means that bet hit at plus 280. So we love those. On the week, I gained 4.60 units. So I'm currently a positive 5.15 units on the year.
Let's go. Yeah, I mean, we literally said in the pod, it's like, you don't have to worry about Benny On. Siwoo was your next threat. And then if, God forbid, Sungjae finds his irons, he's going to play well, but not that well. And I think him and then Siwoo was in like 2 at one point. I was like, oh, my God, what's going on? But
again, I felt really good about Tom Kim last week, but I knew that if Sungjae pulled one out, he's going to be interesting. And Siwoo has those boom bust weeks. I didn't know what I was getting into, but
Benny withdrew after like 5 holes.
Yeah, of course. I knew Benny wasn't going to win the bet, but I was like, gosh dang, I got to go over these other 2. All right, let's go to wildcard picks.
Yeah, I did have an Aubert and Morikawa. It started as a top 20. I was like, you know what, screw it. I'm going top 10. That was a loss because Aubert finished 27th and Morikawa was like 13th.
Yeah, 13th. He was
something like that. Yeah, 13th. So I'll take that hit. Should have been.
Yeah. I'll trade you. I took Russell Henley to finish top 10, and I think he finished like T60.
Is there a bottom 10 bet?
Yeah, he's pretty close to it. So again, I am probably going to avoid Russell Henley for the foreseeable future. So now I know.
He's probably going to win next week at JDC. That's not a bad play, actually, now that I think about it.
Damn it. You're not wrong, but I can't bet him now. He's like screwed me over, I think, 3 straight bets. I just can't keep going back to it. So, all right, let's go to winners.
Yeah, I had Ludwig Aubert finished T27, which was obviously disappointing. I feel like he could have done 4 under, but he stunk it up on Sunday. And then Akshay Bhatia, who finished T5, which I'm very happy about. Pre-tournament, I'll take that every single day of the week, since we obviously don't do like everybody else. Sorry, everybody. Just pick 5 guys: Scotty Scheffler, Tom Kim, Cam Young, and then like, I don't know, Patrick Rogers, who somehow pulled one out and finished like top 20 himself. But I'll take that.
Yeah, Patrick Rogers, I think, gained 8 strokes putting, so that's
Well,
why he
that'll
did
do
it.
it.
So that will not be sustainable this week. For my winners picks, I had Tom Kim, who almost won, and I had Denny McCarthy, who was T31. So if you take 2 top fives out of four picks, and the other guys both finished about T30, uh, those are pretty good considering we only could bet 4 guys, and you got 2 top fives out of there. Just saying. So, all right. With that, we are moving on to the Rocket Mortgage Classic at the Detroit Golf Club. You didn't have any other thoughts on the Travelers, did you?
No, I want the
No.
Masters.
No, you just want to trash talk more protesters.
Oh, you want another rant? Because I can go
No,
in.
no, I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding.
You donuts.
We are going to Detroit Golf Club as a par 72 totaling 7,350 yards. Last year's winner was Ricky Fowler over Colin Morikawa. This was the peak of Ricky's quote unquote comeback. Right? I mean, I feel like I can pretty comfortably use that verbiage. This was like the height of his second power. Just kind of when all of a sudden it was like, is Ricky going to fall off? Is he not? Here's a win. Suck it. So that was in a playoff, by the way, in case nobody knew any better. Just some highlights on this course. This course is statistically the flattest golf course on tour. And it also allows for the highest percentage of bomb and gouge. So distance guys are going to be absolutely huge this week. You can afford to miss the fairway by 15, 20 yards, and it's really not going to penalize you that much.
This is where Rory should play.
Yeah, Rory would be absolutely spectacular here. Course history is decent, but again, a lot of these guys play this course every year, and they're generally all decent. We'll let you know if anybody stinks. But plenty of these guys are going to get top 20s here, so there's plenty of opportunity. It's really going to be one of those putting contests to determine then who wants to show up on the greens this week, because I think a majority of these guys will overpower this course otherwise. There's really not a ton of other important information in it to know. I mean, there's not a ton of need for around the green play this week, if you want to know that. But yeah, that's kind of it. It's Rocket Mortgage. It's kind of a boring-ish course. Sorry.
I hate to say it, but you're not wrong.
Yeah, it's not very exciting. It's also not pulling out the big names to come play here, which Jack and I'll get to in about 10 seconds. But the top 4 guys is not pretty on DraftKings. So
yeah, to see the number 1 guy at 11K is harsh.
Yeah. First guy, Tom Kim, 11,000. You have Cam Young at 10,700. Minwoo Lee is third at 10,500. And then Alex Noren is fourth at 10,200.
Yeah, so I'm going to speak on Cam Young really quickly. So Cam Young, 59, obviously, that's put that scorecard in the Hall of Fame. Great for you. Streaky last couple weeks, but he found something. He looked spectacular last week, all aboard. He played this event one time in 2022 and finished, let me check my notes,
Top
runner
10.
up.
Yeah.
He, in 4 rounds, gained a total of 13.61 shots overall. And coming into a field that you can just kind of bomb it like Cam Young can, if he has the iron and short game week that he had, I'm not expecting another 59, even though this tournament can get to 28 under. He has the ability to kind of step up. For the number 2 guy, granted, he individually should not be priced at 10,700.
Yep.
But for the field, I mean, 6 guys down is somebody that shouldn't be up there. This is really reasonable, and I like it a lot.
Yeah, again, Cam Young's kind of an interesting play in my opinion. Prior to last week when he shot 59 and he figured out how to hit a golf ball, he had 6 straight starts where he finished no better than T50.
Heck yeah.
He also lost strokes on approach in 4 of his last 6 starts prior to last week. Also lost strokes around the green in 4 of his last 6 starts as well. It's very volatile. Cam Young really, I think, in my opinion, plays best when he's not expected to. And this is a week where I think a lot of people are going to want to get to Cam Young based on the 59, based on him playing as well as he did last week. I prefer Tom Kim. obviously, at $300 more. I think his game is more solid. I think he's more consistent. His iron play has been spectacular each of the last 4 weeks. He's gained on that. He also gained solidly with the putter last week at the Travelers, and gained off the tee. So I have no problems going back to Tom Kim at 11,000. And in all honesty, if I don't go to him, I'm probably skipping this range.
I do think Alex Noren is a okay option. He is higher priced than he should be. I think him and Batia should switch. He does have a good course history here. 2 of the last 3 years, or excuse me, the last 2 times he played, he finished both top 10s, 9th and a 4th place finish. Yes, he's been streaky. The 2 really bad plays he's had is at the U.S. Open and the RBC Canadian Open, which really don't have anything to do with this course, like whatsoever. Yeah, he's one of the most accurate players, and it's not necessarily needed. But you take a look outside of those 2 events, his worst finish really has been like 23 in like the last 9 weeks. Guy's been a monster. U.S. Open eats up a lot of players. Like that, it's hard to weigh that when you're looking at a course in Detroit. But I do think it's a reasonable price for him. I do think him and Batia should switch, but I don't hate it if you're going to go for him.
I'm slightly concerned because he has lost stroke. This is Alex Noren. He's lost strokes off the tee in 3 straight tournaments, which he hadn't done that like all season. I think he had lost strokes off the tee maybe once. Now, again, I understand one of them was the U.S. Open. You can kind of take that with a grain of salt. But he is just kind of trending downward, and this course doesn't really fit his mold. It's not really the type of Alex Noren course you expect for him to crush. I'm okay staying off him this week. I'm really not mad if you choose to avoid him. And especially at 10-2, he's quite high priced compared to what he usually is. Usually he's like low 8s, high 7s. I mean, there are guys below him that are usually higher priced than him in those fields. So it just seems like it's kind of an interesting week to want to get to Alex Noren, in my opinion.
And I have no opinion on Min-Woo Lee. He just hasn't lived up to expectations. Granted, he's been spectacular to watch on social media. But outside of like the CJ Cup, where there's a scoring event, he really hasn't put together 4 straight rounds in the 60s. And for an event that can get anywhere between like 18 and you could high range at like 27 under, I just don't agree with the pricing. Obviously, he's a really popular player, but I haven't seen it, and I need to see more birdies if I can get to him. I really need to.
You're gonna laugh. This is my little blurb on Min-Woo Lee. I'm super surprised to see him priced as high as he is. You look at his finishes. He actually has 5 straight top 25 finishes, with 3 of them being during majors. But much like Patrick Cantlay at the start of the year, he cannot consecutively put rounds together. They go up and down like he's shooting 76 or 62 week after week. Biggest concern for Min-Woo Lee is the second shot. He's been utterly pitiful with his iron play, losing in 4 of his last 5 starts. And depending on whether he wants to hit his irons good or not will be the difference between making a cut or ending up high on the leaderboard this week.
There you go.
But again, at 10,500, I'll pass. There's guys pretty similar to him in the 9Ks. And
I get they have to stagger the prices because obviously it's a lower field. I get they have to do that, but it's still it's high.
I agree. All right, into the 9K range we go. Starting Akshay Bhatia at 9,800 all the way down. Well, not down all the way. There's like 5 guys in this range. Ricky Fowler at 9,000.
Yeah, 2 names I want to call out, and it's the 2 names right at the top. Akshay Bhatia, number 1. Yes, he did play like poo last time he played here. He was not firing on all cylinders, but that was also when he was going through that first kind of what, like Tom Kim. He had that really, really good stretch. He was scoring and then hit that roller coaster rut. I was like, holy crap, I got to figure some stuff out. I think this is actually a course that could suit him a lot better than what his previous finish shows. He's one of the best pure scorers in the game. Yes, he's very young, but you look at his last 3 finishes: 22 at the Memorial, 16 in the U.S. Open with a 68 on the first round, which is ridiculous. And then 4 straight rounds in the 60s at the Travelers. Really good showing. I think this is a course that fits him really, really well. The way he held the irons on the driving and ironing last week was beyond spectacular. And in a course that, yes, obviously, granted, it's going to turn into a putting contest because that's what the PGA Tour really is in a down sense. He's a good putter. He's not a great putter. He's a good putter. And a good putter with his ball striking, that's prone to be good.
I'm going to let you talk about everybody because I have notes on all 5 of these guys.
Oh, all right. Well, I'll hype into Taylor Pendrith next because I guess I said I'm going to say 2 names and stopped at 1. He's been quiet. His only bad finishes have been, basically, outside of the start of the year, I'm talking about more recent form. PGA Championship, nothing to do with Detroit, Michigan. And Valero, Texas, could not be farther away from Detroit, Michigan in terms of comp. Outside of that, 23 at the Travelers with 4 rounds in the 60s. 16th at the U.S. Open with really good scoring. 33 at Memorial, 21 at RBC, 10 at Wells Fargo, win at Byron Nelson. In his last 2 starts here, 14-2, gaining over 22 shots in 8 rounds, and is positive in every single field except 0.007 shots around the green. So he's green everywhere for the most part. I love that play. I think he's relatively inexpensive for like the 6th guy on the board. And I think it's a really good play this week.
Yeah. I'm going to go over some of the same stuff because, again, I have a few of these guys. So I'll start with Akshay. He's gained off the tee in 5 straight tournaments. He's also gained on approach in 4 or 5 tournaments. His putter, though, has actually been the biggest reason why he's been playing well. If he's going to do well this week, he's going to need another 4.5 to 5 strokes gained putting, which is basically what he's been averaging each of the last 4 weeks. So if he continues to stay hot with the putter, he's going to continue to do well. Otherwise, he'll probably end up like T30, which he won't be horribly mad at, but it just won't be the same Akshay. It could be top 10. Taylor Pendrith actually ranks first in course fit, which Jack kind of described, basically, more or less. He has the distance, but not the accuracy, which again is all you need here. You don't need the accuracy. Everything points for Pendrith to succeed this week, but much like Akshay, he's relying heavily on his putter right now to boost him with these good finishes. He's gained roughly 4 strokes in each of the past 4 starts with his putter, but he has lost strokes off the tee in 3 or 4 starts, which again is partially due to accuracy. Something to keep in mind. There's going to be a lot of expectation on Taylor Pendrith this week. I think he will be the most popular person in this region, so keep that in mind. I understand fading him if you're worried that the pressure might get to him. I also understand if you're like Jack and you think he's going to absolutely crush it this week. Ricky Fowler, after winning this event last year, he has basically become a completely different golfer again. He came in last year getting cross-board on all statistical categories, and this year he's basically struggled in all statistical categories, specifically on approach and putting, where he's lost on 5 of his last 7 starts in both of them. So the fact that he won last year puts him at 9,000. Ignore him like the plague. If he will be one of the 4 guys I will inevitably say you should not be starting your lineups that is highly priced. There's no way that he breaks top 30 this week, in my opinion. I just don't see.
I'm looking at his placement bet right now for you to see that.
He's playing too poorly in order to play or do any better. Will Zalatoris, this is not the spot for Will. The score is going to get too high for him to really have a chance. He also has lost strokes putting in 6 of his last 7 starts. So again, we talked about how he found his putter, then he lost his putter again. He's also lost on approach in 4 of 7. Overall, his game is just shambles comparatively to what he can do. Stephen Jaeger is a bit of an interesting case. He's lost strokes putting in 7 of his last 9 starts. But during that time, he's made 7 of his last 9 cuts. One of those missed cuts was the Masters, which I can forgive him on. I don't know if Jack can. And then the other thing is 6 of the 7 cuts he's made, he's actually finished top 30 in. So if he's making cuts, he's finishing top 30. And he's making probably 2/3 of the cuts and then missing 1/3 of the cuts. So I like the chances for a top 30 bet if you're feeling spicy on Stephen Jaeger this week.
So Ricky Fowler's 44th or better or 45th or worse at -120.
I see. I don't like that number because I could totally see like a backdoor T39 out of Ricky Fowler. Like on Sunday he'll shoot 7 under and backdoor into the top 40 somehow. I could so see that. Like that'd be so Ricky Fowler-esque. So I wouldn't go there. If it was T37 or worse, give me worse. I think that's a good number. But T44, it's just again, outside of that top 40, I don't love to see.
Yeah.
So, all right. With that, let's go into the 8K range. We've got Maverick McNeely at 8,900, all the way down to Michael Thorbjornsen at 8,000.
There we go. No end this time. I really like two guys in this field a little more than everybody else. I do think Maverick McNeely is going to be a really good guy this week. He was getting warm when he was continuing to play. And then he took a little bit of a break, which I think was good for him because he was basically playing every single week for a long time.
Played 7 or 8 straight weeks at one point.
That's crazy. You need to take breaks in professional golf, even though
Tom Kim and Akshay Bhatia have both played 9 straight weeks, by the way.
Oh, yeah. So Maverick McNeely, 13 for 14 on cuts. The one he missed was January 18th. So he's been doing just fine. 3 top 10s in that stretch with an average score of about 69. He's been awesome. So 7th at RBC, 17th at the Charles Schwab, 23 at the PGA Championship. This guy is really, really good. And at 8,900, I think it's going to be one of those plays that he's not probably going to win, but he's going to be probably in top 30 contention. He finished 21st and 8th here in 2021 and 2020 with an average scoring or average finish of 43 over the last 3 years. And he gains everywhere on the metrics except for 0.07 shots around the green. He's a good play. He's a smart play. And then the second guy I really like, scary to say looking at his last results, is Chris Kirk.
Okay.
So he is a little scary of a play, especially looking at his last 5. He has 2 in the hundredths. But hear me out. This event he loves. Average finish is 16th. All 4 finishes he's played are top 21. 14, 17, 12, and 21, getting just under 28 shots overall in 16 rounds, positive all across the board, including 1.73 shots scored above the field on average. So he's been really good. I think this is more a familiar course style for him compared to a lot of the courses he's been playing and struggling at. So I think at 8,100 for a guy this caliber and a pure ball striker, it's a really, really good price. Now, I'm not saying, again, he's going to win. I think it's going to be one of the big names. But I do think that he has a really good shot of breaking, top 50, which is like for 8,100, I'll take that.
Yeah. I think Kirk could be an interesting play. I don't know if I like him in this range. I like a lot of the other guys here. I'm big on Maverick McNeely as well. He ranks 11th in the field in strokes gained off the tee. His putter is also one of the better parts of his game, where he actually ranks 4th in this field. He's finished T23 or better in 3 straight weeks. The fact that the guy isn't like 10K in price, spectacular. I'm all over him this week. I like him over probably majority of the 9K guys, to be honest. I will talk about Robert McIntyre. He's gained in both strokes gained off the tee as well as with the putter in 6 of his last 7 starts. And with that result, 5 of his last 7 starts have ended with a T16 or better finish. I think he's viable this week, especially with the mitigated wayward drives he does. It's an interesting option. If you like the putter, Aaron Rai could be incredibly streaky with it. It's an interesting play. I would not recommend him in most cases, but if you're in a very much a high upside where maybe it's 20 guys and one guy wins money, I can tell you proudly, not a single effing dude is going to take Aaron Rai in their lineup. And if the guy finishes top 25, you're going to look like a genius. So he has the upside. I just don't know if I would rely on him if you're doing a 50-50 double up. Let's see. Next, if you want a cheaper, basically similar version of Taylor Pendrith. So if you like Taylor Pendrith, based on what Jack said last, 5 minutes ago, Ryan Fox. He's basically giving Walmart off-brand version of Taylor Pendrith this week. He's great off the tee, but he is wayward, and he has a great putter a majority of the time. He's gained off the tee in 6 straight starts and with a putter in 5 of 6. He's playing quite well. This is the kind of course I could totally see Foxy being like, oh, it's a weak field. Nobody's paying attention to me this week. I'm decently cheap. Let me go finish top 10. I could totally see that. I will talk about Thorbjornsen as well, just at 8,000. I'd consider his first professional start last week at the Travelers pretty successful there for Mikey. I mean, What would you say the same, Jack? I mean, T39 first start out after college. I'd be very comfortable with that, especially as cheap as he was.
Yeah, I think it's a tremendous start. I think not people aren't giving him enough credit. My only
Yeah.
concern with him, and again, I know this is 2022 when he was an AM and
Yeah.
his testicles were going inside of his stomach when he was teeing off, but he lost 5.26 shots around here when he played here in 2022. So it is a little scary. But again,
Yes.
2 years ago compared to where he is now.
And again, there's not really enough data to get into too much analytics with him. But the T39 was super respectable. He kind of unraveled on Sunday a little bit, slightly. But I don't hate going back to him this week. If you want to, again, I don't know if I love it at the price of 8,000. I think
He'll be a guy to watch next year. I think he's going to be our Thomas Dietrich next year, Taylor Montgomery.
100%. That's a good way to describe it. All right, I think we just described just about everybody. Oh, I didn't talk about Davis Thompson, but he has gained on approach in 6 or 7 starts. He also ranks 10th in the field in strokes gained off the tee. He just finished T9 at the U.S. Open, and this is a pretty weak field, all things considered, if you can finish T9 at the U.S. Open. So I'm all over Davis Thompson to win. Hopefully, I could totally see Davis Thompson win in the next 12 months.
I thought you were talking about this event. I was like, uh-oh.
I think he'll contend this week, but I could see him easily win the next 12 months.
All right.
So, all right, into the 7K range we go. Ben Griffin, 7,900, all the way down to Eric Cole at 7,000.
Public service announcement about Ben Griffin. Had an eye surgery. Has been wearing sunglasses that have been messing with his prescription and all this stuff. He said he's seeing spots. He's seeing double in spots. And he's going to have to get time and just try to adjust to everything. When I hear that stuff, especially with the eyes, you're rolling a green, all that stuff, it cautions me. It pauses me. He has the ability and the stats to perform well here, but I'm pausing on him. Another guy, too, that I think is probably someone you should watch out for, and this is hard for me to say in a negative sense, Mark Hubbard. Yes, he is 16 for 16 on cuts. I lost my stat on him, but I don't think he's made a cut here before.
Yeah, you know what? That's a chance I'm willing to take if you haven't missed a cut and it's already June. I'm comfortable going back to him.
He missed the last 3, but to get more positive, because I don't really like talking negative about guys, I'll jump into a little bit here. Number 1, Taylor Moore. Yes, fully aware. Everybody, when you heard that name and you stopped your car and you pulled over and you go, Jack, you dummy. I know. But he's number 4 in the entire field and history at this course, both top 10s, which is a 4th and a 6th place finish. This is an event outside of the U.S. Open. Charles Schwab Memorial, he struggled with that. He probably could have done better at the Travelers last week, finished almost dead last. This course fits him. Now, he's not one of those traditional, like a Keith Mitchell or a Pendrith, where he's going to hit at 340, pull the club back like John Daly. But in terms of metrics, this course really suits him well. He's gained 3 shots on average total across the field, 1.47 tee to green, 1.53 on average, and 24 shots total in 8 rounds. So this is a comfortable course for him. If you're giving me 7,500, which I always say 7,500 below, make the cut and I'm happy. You give me those finishes. I'm not saying he's going to win. Let me preface that, because look at the last 4. I know. But history, which I know Liam's a big fan of, and the upside at 7,500, I genuinely like.
The saddest part is I have an entire paragraph here to Taylor Moore basically saying why I don't like him this week.
I bet you do.
And it's all based on everything post PGA Championship, where he's basically gotten as cold as ice. He's lost. He's basically finished last in 4 straight tournaments. He finished T68 last week out of 70 guys. That's not going to read like a missed cut, but he basically would have missed the cut. He's lost in every major statistical category in each of the last 4 weeks. Not just like lost intermittently. He has lost strokes gained, off the tee, strokes gained approach, strokes gained putting, all of them each of the last 4 weeks. I'm probably going to fade him until he figures it out. It might be this week. That might be something I have to say. Because again, the course history is there with a T4 and a T6. But like we've said the same thing about like not Wyndham Clark. Oh my gosh, what's his face? Webb Simpson. Sorry, I was thinking because he was so good at the Wyndham. But no, we've said the same thing about Webb Simpson when he goes to the Wyndham, and the guy will still miss the cut there every once in a while, even though he's got a spectacular.
I'm just hoping for a made cut. That's all I want.
I could see made cut and then finishing like a T60.
Good enough for me. Got me 4 rounds.
I could see that. I still like Hubbard. And one other guy, I think he could be an interesting option. And Jack, I'm sure you know something about him. Luke Clanton at 7,000.
Luke Clanton is an interesting guy. I'm sure you have notes on him.
I do.
I won't steal your thunder.
Okay.
Top 50 in the U.S. Open. I know that for a fact.
T41.
T41. Guy is. So if you follow him, he on the circuits hits a very straight ball. He does not try to kill it, even though it goes very far. Yes. If you watch him, he has the ability to hit it basically about as far as Bryson on a stock swing. Do not count him out. Yes, he's way overpriced. I think he's overpriced for how many times he's played. And granted, a lot of it has not been on the PGA Tour or PGA Tour circa, but that guy is a bomber in a sense, and I think he can let loose this week. That wasn't the guys that I was going to highlight, just because he's so unpredictable. But he could be a guy to watch out for in like a wild card or a one-off.
He has upside to potentially surprise people here. That's what I'm going for. I couldn't find a ton on him, but the only thing I found on him was that he finished T41 at the U.S. Open. He gained 4.3 strokes gained off the tee there. He also gained 3 strokes putting and lost about 4 strokes around the green. If you're telling me he's going to lose 4 strokes around the green at Detroit, I'm going to call bullshit, because there's nobody on the planet that has lost 4 strokes around the green at Detroit. That is just not a thing. Nobody's done that in years. Statistically, nobody's done that in years. So if he does identical to what he did at the U.S. Open and breaks even on strokes gained around the greens, he could probably finish, top 25 this week?
Yeah, the worst I could find strokes gained putting was -259. So
yeah, there you go. So if he loses 2.5,
shout out Kevin Yu.
Yeah. Oh, okay. Yeah, Kevin Yu. That explains it. But again, it is going to be a sweaty play as far as trying to get fancy on the system. But Luke Clanton at 7,000 could be your bomb and gouge guy that can go quite well. You want to talk about Lee Hodges? Is he on your list or no?
He was. Love Lee Hodges. He's been a quiet, steady guy. You're welcome if you've been listening to me for the last 5 weeks?
Something like that.
5-6 weeks. He's going off. I love it. He's so consistent. His scoring average, if you take a look at just like the bulk number, is very inflated, because you look at like the first 4 weeks, he was like 73, 75. So his scoring average is inflated from like the first 6 weeks. He's done really, really well recently. And I'm not saying, again, he's going to contend and he's going to win, but he's one of those guys. I'd give it like a 75% chance he's going to make the cut at 7,100, probably even more. But now this is a full field. He's done really, really well. He is so consistent everywhere. He's really good. He's one of those players that doesn't have a big name because he pops off every once in a while and people are like, oh, Lee Hodges, that guy's 70. And then you look at him, he's like 28. Like everybody thinks Lee Hodges is old in the golf community. If you don't know who he is, it's really weird, but he's young. So I'll let you talk about him, and then I'll talk about one guy I'm really high on this week.
No, I don't have a ton on him, but again, I think he missed 4 of his first 7 cuts. And so that's where part of the inflation also looks, because I think he's like 12 through 18 on DraftKings as far as the statistics, but it just doesn't show the same number. So again, 7,100, I'm anticipating something along the lines of like a T50 from Lee Hodges this week. And that's really all you need from him, especially if he's like your 6th guy in this relatively cheap field, all things considered.
I agree, but everybody, make note, Matt Wallace. How you go, Matt Wallace? I haven't heard his name in a couple years, and that was not on my bingo card. Matt Wallace has been fantastic since his Texas stretch where he just sucked. 15th at the KLM Open, which he even had a really bad Sunday and finished T15th. That was spectacular because that course on Sunday was playing very hard. People were losing balls. If you watched on Golf Channel, which you should, obviously it was on at like 3 a.m. You should be watching, you nerds. Join me. RBC Canadian 27th, PGA 43rd, Myrtle Beach 20, and Byron Nelson 4, Valspar 17. All gettable courses. He can make birdies. He has the ability to make birdies and has played here 3 times and has 2 top 12 finishes, 12th and a 10th. He's gained strokes everywhere except 0.39 loss off the tee, and that was from when he finished dead last inside the cut at 78th last year when he was battling an injury. So I really like this play at 7,400. If he can make me a cut, which I think a 100% chance he will, that is a solid pickup in my mind. I think he's getting you 4 rounds.
Interesting play on Matt Wallace. I get it. 2 seconds. Sam Stevens could be an interesting play. He's had some of these peak performances. He's also a little bit sporadic. This is a course that could make a lot of sense as far as it maybe not being the longest course, but playing well for longer course hitters. So Sam Stevens, 7,200 could be a play. All right. Into the 6K range we go. You're good, right? Nobody else at 7K? Cool.
Good.
All right. Into the 6K range we go. Doug Ghim, 6,900, all the way down to Ben Coles at 6,000.
Don't play Ben Coles. One guy I would say, I know I've said his name a million times, and every time he does, he like teeter-totters. I think this will be a very sneaky Ryo Hisasune week. This will be because he is amazing approach-wise. He is really, really good in a lot of spots and has the ability to drop really, really strong birdies. In the fields he sucks at, they're like Masters, Players, Palm Beach, which was the Honda Classic, Charles Schwab, like he plays like these events. Then you take a look at RBC 35th, PGA 18th, Byron Nelson 13th, Puerto Rico Open 18th. These spots where birdies are available in the field is just a little. Now you're telling me the biggest guy, no offense to Tom Kim shouldn't be the biggest guy in the field. Min Woo Lee shouldn't be the 3rd biggest guy in the field, even though obviously social media-wise he's awesome, and I love Min Woo Lee. This, I think, is a very sneaky play, and I get why a lot of people will be hesitant taking a look at his stats, but I really think this will be a very sneaky play for him because he possesses the tools to go out there and make the cut, which is what I'm going for. I really think it'll be good.
Yeah, Ryo could be interesting. I'm going to also talk about Chandler Phillips as a guy who I think has the potential to make the cut. I think I talked about Chandler Phillips the first time at like the Sony. That was like the first week he was on tour, and I was like, I'm going Chandler Phillips. Now here I am, 30 weeks later going back to him. He has back-to-back top 12 finishes at both the Charles Schwab and the Canadian Open. One of them might be an 11th. Don't quote me. He ranks 5th in the field in terms of approach, 25th in strokes gained tee to green. One of his biggest weaknesses is spraying it off the tee, which is basically mitigated here. Do I think he's going to finish top 20? No. Do I think he can make the cut? I give it an 85% likelihood of him making the cut. And at 6,700, I'm quite happy with that. You also have Alejandro Tosti, who I think could be an interesting play because the guy, although he looks like he's about 5'3" and has no ability to hit a golf ball, is one of the longer hitters in the field. That's really the biggest highlight. I think he's top 5 in the field in strokes gained off the tee.
Go back to the PGA, where he's like the only guy to drive that par 4.
Bingo. So at 6,600, if you're looking for driving distance and long ball hitters, if you have the Taylor Pendrith and the Ryan Moores, and you want a low price guy to also fit in that range, Tosti could be an interesting option.
I have one other guy. I'm not saying to play it. I
have one guy too.
I know, and don't play what the guy he's about to talk about. Don't do it. Don't be dumb and play it. Troy Merritt technically is the number 1 ranked player in this entire event's history. That's played all 5 years. Technically.
Yeah.
It's weird. He's gained everywhere. Everything is green. He's gained over 30 shots total. He has, in his last 4 starts, all top 20, including a runner-up and an 8th place finish. He's 6,300 and has made 4 of his last 5 cuts, including a 9th at the Byron Nelson. I'm not saying to play it, but if you want a guy that's like course history number 1, I'm putting, if you're not watching and you're listening in your car, a lot of air asterisks because there's a lot of bigger names in here than what should be. But technically at 6,300, he possesses the abilities to be a sneaky play. Because who's playing Troy Merritt? You know what I mean? It's like if you're doing a one-off with your buddies and you want to look really cool and get a cool name, it's like you put Troy Merritt, that could be a guy.
Yeah, my last guy is in the same price point.
Don't do it.
Neil Shipley. Jack doesn't like it.
I love Neil Shipley, but no, he's playing on these events that are scoring 40 over. Oh gosh.
No, he just turned pro. He had 2 top 30s, both in the Masters and the U.S. Open. He doesn't have the stats, but again, in a weak field at $6,300, he is one of the better options in this range. If you're talking about guys with upside under $6,500, Neil Shipley is one of the few guys that has that upside. Now, you could argue Troy Merritt's another one. I don't care. If you want to take Troy Merritt, that's fine. But I think Neil Shipley is a lot more of an enticing option. And I think he could very, very easily, again, finish like T30 this week.
Yeah, I'm saying not to play it. I'm just kind of joking around. But I would say it's a very risky play.
Yeah,
but
absolutely.
He did finish top 10 in the PGA Tour Americas, which had some horrific names. But it also had Frederick Gjetterup. I know I don't say his name correctly. I already know. Who is one of the best junior players or AM players in the entire game. Obviously, he's professional. Yep. Neil Shipley in that stretch. Yes, I did. I know this is nerd. Had 4 rounds in the 60s, so he has the ability to score. I don't know if his game is suited for this course, but
I mean, if you're asking me whether I'm excited for Gary Woodland, Joel Damon, CT Pan, Charlie Hoffman, Cam Champ, or our guy Neil Shipley, give me Neil Shipley. Well, Damon.
So you take Damon, and you take Cam Champ's name out of your mouth because everybody loves watching Cam Champ. Guy swings it like an 83-year-old and it goes 320 with no spin.
That's true. I will take Damon's name out of my mouth. I cannot say the same for the rest of them. All right. Into the 5K range we go. I hate saying his name, so I'm going to pick the next guy. Carson
guy?
Sammy Valimaki.
Oh, it's close enough.
Carson Young at 5,900. All the way down to the Stoneman at, who do I want to take here? Let's go Willie Mack at 5,000.
Shout out Willie Mack. If you don't know, he just won the off the rip. I can't remember what award. He just won an award.
It was some sort of a Latin American tournament, right?
No, he just won. Well, he could have done that, but he just won a. Oh gosh, let me say my guy that I like, and then I'll circle back because I'm
the same guy. But go for
Miles Russell.
Yes.
Yeah, Miles Russell. Don't play this. But
play him. Do it.
Guy is 15, youngest ever in the history of golf to be in a top 20. He did at the Korn Ferry event with 3 rounds in the 60s, including 2 66s and a 68 and a 70. Then tried to play the Vertex Bank Championship, which has nothing to do with this. Finished 68, 70, missing the cut with a scoring average of 69. Yeah, on the number, which is really, really good. He had a couple mishaps on that second round Friday, which cost him. I think this could be a very sneaky play because he possesses the ability to drop birdies. But because he's so young and inexperienced and is fighting for these distance markers, even though that kid can hit it a mile for 16, I was not that same way. My distance came later on in life. He has the ability to make these 11s on holes. Obviously, he's not, but I think you all know what I'm saying. He's just mistakes are still compiling. And I think to be on the upper echelon, you have to be able to mitigate that. And I don't know if he's there yet. But high upside player, let me tell you.
Yeah, I think in this 5K range, there's, again, like 20, 25 guys in this range. 95% of them possess minimal upside outside of a made cut. I'm just going to say it like it is. None of them are going to be all that enticing. I think the only enticing option is Miles Russell. Again, he's a 15-year-old. I'm going to call him a kid. The kid does not have a driver's license yet, so he's gonna be a kid, and that is something that people will have to be okay with. But there's almost no data on him because he's only played in like 2 or 3 tournaments, both Korn Ferry Tour. But he did finish T25 on the Korn Ferry Tour 2 weeks back. Again, he just missed cut on number at the Veritex. And again, if you like Neil Shipley because he did well in 2 tournaments on the PGA Tour, hello to your Walmart version of Neil Shipley. He just has less data. It's a similar concept. It's kind of a dart throw in my opinion.
Going back to Willie Mack, though, I did find out. So one thing I hear on my notes for Willie Mack. By the way, did you know he's from Flint, Michigan? Everybody thinks he's from California. He's from Flint, Michigan. Fun fact. He won the John Shippen Invitational, which is a qualifier for the nation's top black professional and amateur golfers, which is awesome. That should have been a really good gateway for Steph Curry's league. If you don't know, go research that. Shot 7 under at Detroit Golf Club, winning that, which is a really hard golf course, and there's some good talent there, especially in those conditions, which are really tough. But he kept grinding it out. 1 by 2, including guys like Kevin Hall, Cameron Riley were there, Greg Odom Jr., which has Greg Odom Jr., I will put this on the world, has a top 5 club twirl in golf history. Watch his iron shot on a par 5. I can't remember what course it's at. If I'm sure you haven't seen it either, Liam. Yeah. Hits this shot on a par 5 on 2, doesn't even look, takes the club, twirls it, puts it in his bag, not even watching, and sticks it to like 4 feet. One of the craziest things I've ever seen. But 50 or 5K Stoneman for Willie Mack, Michigan native, just won 700 in crazy conditions. It's not the worst play in the world. I wouldn't recommend it, but it's not the worst play in the world.
Yeah. I want to yell, by the way, at the odds makers. Why is Miles Russell not bettable? I just want to bet the guy top 20 as a wild card, people.
A minor.
I know, that's the issue. The kid's 15, so I can't even bet him to finish like top 40. It's annoying. I'd love to do that. But it's whatever. All right.
I also have, before we go on, my pick for worst in the field, last place this week, is Martin Trainer. Martin Trainer is 0 for 5 on cuts here, losing an egregious 21 shots overall. The only positive he has in the entire course history here is 0.06 strokes gained around the green. He's also missed 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 of his last 8 cuts.
What cut did he make? Jesus.
He made...
Probably the Myrtle Beach.
Oh, crap. I just clicked out of it. He made...
No worries.
Myrtle Beach Classic.
There you go. I called it.
No, that guy's going to suck. And if he... that's my pick for last place. But
All right. Follow us on TikTok, and you look at the 4 guys I dislike that are highly priced and the 4 guys that I like that are low priced. So... That's my pitch for you guys to follow us on TikTok to hear more information there.
Well, hit me with your DraftKings, buddy.
All right. DraftKings, I'm starting off Tom Kim, 11,000. Keith Mitchell, 8,500. Davis Thompson, 8,300. Ryan Fox, 8,200. Mark Hubbard, 7,700. Neil Shipley, 6,300. I have 5 great guys and then Neil Shipley. And if Neil Shipley makes a cut, I think I could easily go 6 or 6 there.
I bet you could find a bet on Neil Shipley too.
I have one. Don't worry.
My DraftKings, Martin Train. No, I'm just kidding. Could you imagine?
That'd be hilarious.
Yeah. Akshay Bhatia, 9,800. Taylor Pendrith, 9,600. Maverick McNeely, 8,900. Matt Wallace, 7,400. Lee Hodges, 7,100. And Rio Hisasune, 6,900. I genuinely like that lineup, and I think there's at least the bottom 3 guys are going to be very underowned.
Fair play. All right, for FanDuel, I am starting again Tom Kim at 12,000, Maverick McNeely at 11,300, Davis Thompson at 10,300, Lee Hodges at 9,400, Mark Hubbard at 9,000, and Neil Shipley at 7,900.
I like it. My FanDuel, pretty similar. I almost just read your FanDuel. I did have Cam Young at 11,900. I think it's a more reasonable price than DraftKings. Even though it's more expensive, it's obviously staggered. Akshay Bhatia, 11,400. Taylor Pendrith, 10,400. Matt Wallace, 9,900. Lee Hodges, 9,400. And I did go Miles Russell at 7K because it was Stone Min. And I think he has the tools to possess a made cut. It's going to be close.
If you like Taylor Pendrith, he is exponentially cheaper comparatively on FanDuel than he is on DraftKings. So if you want to put Taylor Pendrith in the lineup and you're like, well, I want to try and maximize my value, he's lower priced, aka more valuable on FanDuel than he is on DraftKings. So I would go that route. Cool. All right, with bets, how many bets you got this week?
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9.
9. Just kidding. I was testing you. Good.
9
Good
bets,
pass.
and I love them all. Coming
Go
off
for it.
a not so stellar week where we're still up, I am up over 48 units on golf betting this year. Let's go. I think 7-2 would be a good week. Tom Kim, top 30, minus 150. I think it's a safe bet, and I really like those odds. Basically, he's hit this in 5 of his last 6 weeks. The only one he missed was Memorial, which doesn't have anything to do with Detroit. I think he's been playing stellar, and I think he's going to have another great week and coming off a really good finish. We start off with like a 62. Guy can make birdies, and he proved it, which was something that we argued about, or not argued, wanted to see out of him at the end of last year and beginning of this year. Akshay Bhatia, top 40, minus 180. I think that this is a really good spot for him. He's hit this in his last 3, which I think is really good. Can possess the ability to score in a weaker field, minus 180. I'm taking those odds, even though it's not a ton of profit. I do have Maverick McNeely, top 40 at minus 134. He's hit this in his last 3. Should have been last 4, but he finished 41st. Doesn't count for top 40, but he's been a stick for most of the year. Has the ability to make birdies. He's already had 3 top 10s, and again, weaker field accuracy is going to be the name of his game, and I think he can hit that number. Taylor Pendrith, top 41 in ties, is minus 120. He's hit this in 4 straight and 7 of his last 8. So I think he's really good in the number. Massive course history buff. I think this is a really good spot for him at T41 at minus 120. Yes.
You know the best part is that I think I just looked, his T40 odds now are minus 125. So I have a gut feeling that T41 will not last forever. If you guys are listening to this on Monday night, Tuesday morning, I would go run to make sure you can get it before it changes.
Bingo. Next, plus money, because I know that's all you guys reach out to me about. Oh, you're not getting enough profit in your bets. I'm up 48 units. How you guys doing with your outright bets, you suckers? Matt Wallace, top 40, plus 115. Hit this in 4 of his last 5. The only one he missed was PGA Championship at 43rd, which is close enough. This course suits his game. He actually loves this course. He talked about it in an interview this morning. If you guys watch Golf Channel, be a nerd, watch Golf Channel. I think this is a really good spot. He can make a ton of birdies here, has the course history. I think he's going to be really good. Taylor Moore, top 52 in ties, is minus 120. Vess, I know it's scary. I know it's scary considering what he's gone through the last couple weeks, but this is a course where he's had 2 top 10s in a row here. Fits the mold. I like it. It's scary, but you're giving me 52 spots. That's the big kicker. If it was 40, I'd say don't play it at all. Made cut, I couldn't find it yet, but 52, I think, is an opening. Yeah. Cam Young, top 40.
No, you're good. It's the play. If you're going to play Taylor Moore, T52 is the only way I would play him. Yeah. Go for
it. Cam Young, top 40, sorry, guys, is minus 200. I know that's not the best odds, but I'm here to make money. I don't care if it's a penny, and I don't care if it's $1 million. Cam Young had a stellar week last week and 5 crappy weeks before that. I think this is a spot where he can really take advantage of his long game and kind of not really worry about the accuracy, which is kind of putting him off the last couple weeks. Great iron play last week. Amazing with the putter. He went back to that prototype putter that he's been working on. He looked amazing. So I think this could be a really good spot for him to capitalize, and you're giving me top 40 at minus 200. I really like that. Lee Hodges, top 40. Here you go. If you want plus money, is plus 130. I think this is a really good spot. He's hit this in 4 of his last 5, 45th at the Memorial, otherwise he would smack that. Weaker field, has the ability to possess birdies with 4 rounds in the 60s in his last event at the Travelers. And then Chris Kirk, T51 in ties, is minus 120. Yeah, I know he's coming into it with a little bit of streaky form. Hit this at the U.S. Open, but not really anywhere else. But course history buff. Taking a look at Chris Kirk on the metrics, this guy is a stick with 14, 17, 12, and 21 with an average finish to 16th. And in 16 rounds has gained almost 28 shots overall and is positive in every major metric. So I think if you're giving me, much like Taylor Moore, 51 spots and ties, that's a good spot at minus 120 for those odds.
There you go. Unlike Jack, I have 5 bets this week. I have a few heavy favorites, one or two pluses, and then just some middling ones. First one should be a lock. It's Steven Jaeger over Matty Schmidt. I just don't see any way 9 out of 10 times it doesn't go our way with Jaeger beating Matty Schmidt. It's minus 200. So again, it's not great return, but capitalize that with Jack's minus 200 earlier, which is Cam Young top 40. Bada bing, bada boom. All of a sudden, you're in good shape there. Second bet is Eric Van Rooyen over Garrick Higo. That is, again, dependent on whether Garrick Higo can make it to the first tee or not. That is a running joke for a while now, but Garrick Higo is notorious for not making it through tournaments.
If Garrick Higo and Hideki Matsuyama to scramble, it'd be how many holes do they finish, not what under par do they have.
Well, there you go, exactly. My third bet is Taylor Pendrith over Adam Svensson, Ben Silverman, and Roger Sloan, a.k.a. Taylor Pendrith over Adam Svensson, basically, in my opinion, at plus 125.
That's illegal. That should be a minus.
It should be a minus, but we're going to take it. I have Robert McIntyre over Ricky Fowler at minus 110. Again, we just trash talked Ricky Fowler 20 minutes ago. Go back and listen to it. And then I have Davis Thompson top 40 at minus 110. So nothing fancy, but again, I think I could easily go 3 or 4 for 5 on the weekend this one, and that's all I need. All right, into wildcard picks. Ooh, I like
That's
yours.
disgusting.
Interesting.
The odds are terrible. Think about it, because it's Ryo Hisasune and Chris Kirk top 40 parlay at plus 390. Chris Kirk has the ability and has proven over the last course history in the last couple of years here that he can finish top 20 and has done it every single time. Now you're giving me 19 additional spots because I think his worst was like 21st. I think this is a course where he needs to come back and play well. And then Ryo Hisasune, this, like I said earlier, if you watch him, this is a course he should really do well at. He really should. These really lower tier events where birdies are available, this kid can score. I'm not saying he's going to go out and finish top 5, but I'm thinking if I can get 37th and 34th out of these two guys and I take home 3.9 units, chef's kiss right there. I should have gone one guy individually to finish high, but I really like the names I talked about, and everybody else, it's like, what are they going to do? If I could do a Martin Trainer last place bet, that'd be...
Well, admittedly, if there was a way that Miles Russell wasn't 15 and wasn't an amateur and I could bet him, he would probably be my wildcard pick. Because I can't, and these are the only odds I could find on him, I have Neil Shipley top 20 at plus 600. Again, that is not something I would recommend betting, but I am doing this more so to keep an eye on Neil Shipley on the week, as I just want to see how he does based on the fact that now he's now a pro and this is just a standard PGA Tour event for him. So, on to winners. Jack, who you got as your winner?
Well, it sounds like it's two big names, but if you look at the odds, my second guy is way down there, so it's weird. Akshay Bhatia, I think he possesses the ability to score. I think although he missed the cut in his first attempt here, he was a way different player. I actually genuinely really love this play. Akshay Bhatia. And the number 2 is Taylor Pendrith. I think he possesses the bombing ability, and I really think he has the ability to kind of go low here. So I think if I can get top 20 out of both those guys, I'm really happy. And I do have, before you say your winner, I do have one bet that I think you may want to take.
I'm listening.
Ryan Fox currently has a 50-second or better odds at minus 120.
All right. I will throw that in. All right. Ryan Fox, T52 or better.
And you can bet that after we finish recording, just to make sure you lock that in.
Yeah, exactly. I'll go through. All right, for my winners, I'll talk about it. One of them is Ryan Fox. I think he's going to do really well this week. Again, he's the Walmart Taylor Pendrith. Jack took Pendrith. I was like, great. I'll take the guy that's, basically the same version of him. So Foxy is one. My other winner was Davis Thompson. Again, do I realistically think this would be the week? No, but again, it's good course layout, weak field. It'd be the kind of setup I would anticipate a Davis Thompson win. And I don't know if I would necessarily use many of the other weeks outside of maybe the John Deere next week. But at that point, then I will, I'll cross the bridge next week when we get, I don't know, Mac Meisner as my winner's pick there.
No, TPC Lee, baby.
Oh, that's right, TPC Lee. I can't forget about him. So, no, with that, that is the Rocket Mortgage. This is probably not the week I would consider going heavy on your bets. Be confident in your, 2, 3, 4, 5, whatever many normal plays you do. And and don't be afraid to, if you're 50-50 on one, hold off this week. Save it
Or
for
bet
the
mine.
Open. What?
Or bet my bets.
Or just bet Jack because he's really confident in his. But I would probably save some of the money you would spend this week on the Open, just because again that's like 2 or 3 weeks away at this point. Next week we will be at the John Deere Classic. That is Jack and Mai's hometown event. We love this event. Jack can name the surfaces of the fairway and the different bumps you'd have to hit on certain parts of this course. He's played it so much. So I anticipate.
And Liam, that was the course where he first broke 90 at. Fun fact.
Yeah, which had no business doing, but we'll take it.
There was hail that day we were playing. It doesn't make sense. But I want to put it out there. That's cool.
Golf's weird. All right, we'll leave you to it, and we will see you next week for the hometown John Deere Classic. Deuces.